3 big reasons why video editors are switching from Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve.
Just the performance. Resolve is really good at utilizing your GPU, and you just start to notice the performance differences. I don't know.
But then I learned about DaVinci Resolve, and let's just say I was blind, but now I see.
Hi, Chevaughn Beckford, and welcome to the channel. For all my new viewers, welcome back to the channel. To anyone who is returning, if you're new to the channel, feel free to hit that subscribe button. In this video, I will be discussing why I won't be switching to DaVinci Resolve. Let's get into this video, Chevaughn Beckford style. I'm sure you guys have seen at least one creator on YouTube posting how they're switching from Premiere Pro, Final Cut Pro, whatever video editing software that it is that they're using, over to DaVinci Resolve. And they all almost have the same reason why they're switching from, whether it is Premiere Pro or Final Cut or whatever it is they use, to DaVinci Resolve. And it is always about stability and speed. Some of them talk about the cost as well, because DaVinci Resolve 18 Studio version is one-time payment, and we all know Adobe Premiere Pro is a subscription-based software. So in this video, I will be talking about why I won't be switching to DaVinci Resolve. And the first reason is the cost. Now for my plan, I currently have the student plan, and I get all the Adobe software that is included on the Adobe website, all of their software. And I'm only paying $29.99 per month, plus tax of course. And I get all the apps, as I mentioned before, plus 100 gigabyte of cloud storage. Now this plan works best for me because I am a student and I don't only edit videos. I take photos, I do graphic design, I design logos, I edit PDF documents, I edit videos, I do motion graphics. So having that subscription, that plan, is more feasible for someone like me who's not just making YouTube videos. And the cost is kinda cost effective for me as a student, because I am not making the big bucks as those creators on YouTube are from making videos, whether it is for their platform or for clients. I don't have, what is it for DaVinci Resolve? Let me look it up because I have my notes here. I don't have $295 upfront. I don't have that much money to pay one time, so I'm kind of comfortable with paying the $29.99 each month, because that is not as drastic to my bank account as $295. I know it adds up over time, but for my short-term goals currently and what I use from Adobe, the $29.99 seems feasible and great for my budget. Also with that plan, I get the 100 gigabyte of storage. I can save my photos. I can share albums of photos with my clients so they can see whatever photos they like and want to download. I can store photos for future use. I can store my files online, whether it is my Premiere Pro files, my Photoshop files. You get the gist. So I can use that 100 gigabyte of cloud storage. And if you're not a student and want to get the Adobe All Apps plan, it is just $54.99 per month. And Premiere Pro by itself is only $20.99 per month. So over a year of using Premiere Pro, if you choose a Premiere Pro only license, you will pay $252 now. Compared to DaVinci Resolve, that would be around the same price, but you would get the lifetime version of DaVinci Resolve for $295 compared to just 1 year of Premiere Pro for $252. So it all depends on your budget and what you do in that instance as it relates to cost. Now let me move on to my next reason why I won't be switching to Resolve, and that is the support. Let's be honest, Premiere Pro has been around and been one of the main video editing platforms for years now. There are more forums online if you have issues, if you run into a trouble, a crash, and you need some help online. There are tons of forums. There's the Adobe community where you can ask for help. There are a lot of YouTube videos on how to troubleshoot Premiere Pro issues, how to do specific effects, what to do if you run into whatever error. There are a lot of support out there for Premiere Pro. There are also a ton of plugins out there for Premiere Pro than there are for DaVinci Resolve. Let's say for me specifically, I use Premiere Composer. Now this is a plugin available for free. There's also a paid version from Mr. Horse. I'll leave a link in the description. This video is not sponsored by them, by the way, but that plugin helps me a lot with transitions, sounds, assets, you name it. So plugins, support, Premiere Pro. Another reason is the assets available for Premiere Pro Online. There are so many things available for Premiere Pro Online compared to DaVinci Resolve currently, because you know things might change a year, 2 years down the line as it relates to stuff which are available for either of the software. Now let me move on to the next reason why I won't be switching. This reason is a very big reason. Dynamic link. If you're an Adobe user, you have to have heard about dynamic link at least once, or maybe even use it at least once. Now dynamic link is a feature that allows us Adobe users to connect the Adobe apps together seamlessly. Now, this includes connecting apps such as Adobe After Effects, Adobe Audition, together with Adobe Premiere Pro, because those 3 apps are the most closely related apps within the Adobe ecosystem. Now, let's say I created some motion graphics in After Effects, and I want that graphic in my video sequence. If you were using DaVinci Resolve, you would have to export that graphical sequence as an MP4, MOV, whatever video file format you want to use, and then import that footage into DaVinci Resolve. With Dynamic Link, all you have to do is go up to File, Dynamic Link, and add Adobe After Effects sequence, and the Adobe After Effects sequence of that motion graphics will be available to be placed into your Premiere Pro sequence without exporting. And if you make a change in the After Effects file, the change will be reflected in your Adobe Premiere Pro sequence. So that is very convenient. If you were using DaVinci Resolve, you would have to be going back and forth, re-rendering, changing stuff, especially if you're doing client work, like what I do on the side. They ask for this, and then they might change a word in a motion graphics that I have in my Premiere Pro video, and instead of having to re-render that graphics, I just go over to my After Effects file, tweak the graphics, and the changes will be reflected on my Adobe Premiere Pro sequence. Now, Dynamic Link for me is a gem. It's amazing because I can design some of my stuff in Photoshop, drop that file into After Effects with the same Dynamic Link, and then motion graphics stuffy in After Effects, and transfer that sequence into Premiere Pro. It sounds all complicated and stuff, but for me, I don't only edit videos. I take photos, as I mentioned, I make graphics, motion graphics. This is amazing for us. We don't have to be exporting over and over, and we know files lose quality the more you export and transfer and blah blah blah. But with Dynamic Link, you have the full quality, no exporting, they're all connected seamlessly. So if I design the graphics in Photoshop, I tweak in Photoshop, the tweak will be reflected in Adobe Premiere Pro. This, for example, this was designed in Photoshop, animated in After Effects, and added to Premiere Pro with Dynamic Link. Now, enough about Dynamic Link. Let me move right along on why I won't be switching to DaVinci Resolve. Next topic, customization. Now, we all know almost all the Adobe software are customizable. Like, you can tweak, tune, adjust any way you like. And this is not so for most software out there, such as DaVinci Resolve. What you see on the screen, you have little to no control over how your interface looks. It's the same for everyone. Everyone's DaVinci Resolve looks the same. That's not the case for Adobe Premiere Pro. You can tweak and tune, adjust your Adobe Premiere Pro, the tabs, the profiles, yada yada yada, to fit your workflow and what tabs you use the most and where you want your tabs. It's very customizable. Also, this makes the workflow seamless when you're using multiple displays. Like me, take a look. That's my setup. I have my monitor connected to my laptop, so I can drag my sequence timeline over to my monitor and have the video playback showing on my laptop. Now with the timeline on the monitor, I have more control over each frame and each asset that is laid out on my timeline. With DaVinci Resolve, it's not that easy and you're pretty limited with what you can do with the customization. Also, if I'm using dynamic link like I love, I can have After Effects on my monitor, Premiere Pro on my laptop, and make the adjustments while I go along. Customization, it's amazing. You can change your tabs, you can fiddle around with your user interface as much as you want. You're limited with Resolve. It's like iPhone and Android. You can customize your Android to however you want your Android to look and behave, but with an iPhone, what you see is what you get. You all have the same thing, while with an Android, even though we have the same thing, I can make my Android different from yours. A lot of creators, when they're talking about why they switched from Premiere Pro to DaVinci Resolve, also is about crashing. Now, I've been using Adobe Premiere Pro since 2020. I used to use Filmora, Wondershare Filmora, before I started using Premiere Pro. Crazy, right? But shout out to Filmora. Wondershare Filmora, you guys did a pretty good job with that software. It is what helped me to start my video editing journey. But anyways, crashes and errors. Now, I've noticed over the years from using Premiere Pro that whenever I encounter a crash or errors or the software moving laggy, glitchy for some reason, it is always because of something I didn't do correctly or something I am doing, such as editing 4K videos, log profile videos from an HDD with some of the files on an SSD. Now that's obviously going to make the software lag. So I transfer all my videos to the SSD, edit from the SSD, export, then move them back over to the HDD after I'm finished. That gives me a seamless, smooth playback and running time in Premiere Pro. Another issue I normally encounter when editing in Premiere Pro with speed and crashes and yada 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 is to be using title packs but don't have the fonts installed on your device when using those title packs. They will always cause the render to crash. So try getting the fonts for the title packs before you start rendering your sequence. Also, try turning off your effects while scrubbing through if you don't need them, and you will have a smoother scrubbing. I know with Resolve you don't have to do this, but this is just a workaround. So instead of whining about the problem, let's find solutions. And honestly, I don't think my Premiere Pro has crashed that much compared to how they're complaining online, because it's now April of 2023, currently for the recording of this video, and my Premiere Pro has crashed only 3 times since the beginning of this year. And these 3 times were because of me. I was using a LUT pack I got from some source, and it was causing some error with the rendering of my videos because they were Rec 709 LUT packs, but I placed them onto a log profile, and it caused Premiere Pro to crash over and over again before I identified the problem. And that was 3 times since the beginning of the year, and that was in one instance, and that was user error. So most of the time with the lagging and crashing and yada yada yada, it's because of what we are doing as the user and not the software itself. And yeah, I don't really like the speed of Premiere Pro and the fact that I have to go through all that trouble, which makes me a better video editor anyways, but I would like to have the freedom and flexibility of just editing all over the place and it still runs smoothly like what they say they have with Resolve. But that's just a fix you can try if you have those issues with Adobe Premiere Pro. Now, at the end of the day, it is all up to you and what you see fit for your workflow, because another big issue I had when I started using DaVinci Resolve was the fact that I started using the free version. Yes, everyone will tell you, oh, there's a free version, you can try it out. But the moment I downloaded the free version and tried it out, it didn't work for me at all. I was seeing like video is not showing some error thing. I will show a screenshot here, and I couldn't get the videos to work at all. I tried troubleshooting and I couldn't find out what was causing the issue. Unlike with Premiere Pro, if you troubleshoot the issue for Premiere Pro, you will see a million results on what is causing the issue. DaVinci Resolve, that wasn't the case. I had to dig for about 20 minutes before I found out that the free version does not support 10-bit color videos. Yeah, the free version only supports 8-bit. Now that's a bummer because all my videos since recently are in 10-bit because I shoot on the Panasonic Lumix S5. So all my videos are 10-bit, so I couldn't edit in the free version at all because of that reason. I would have to downscale my videos to 8-bit, and I don't really like working with 8-bit. It's a pain to color grade. So I said, it's not gonna work. But I did edit a few little videos that didn't involve videos being captured on my Lumix S5, test out the workflow, and it's not that different from Premiere Pro. Well, it's different in some aspect, very different, but it's just another video editing software, and I didn't really experience any change in speed, any faster, anything compared to Premiere Pro. But as I said before, it is up to you and your workflow. If you're just starting out on YouTube, just starting out video editing, doing some light video editing, DaVinci Resolve, because there's a free version you can utilize to make simple videos like these. Like just talking headshots. You can start out your channel like that. If you want to be more advanced, like get some professional client work, motion graphics, all of that, Adobe Premiere Pro, because no software on the market beats Adobe Premiere Pro with graphics. Hands down, Adobe Premiere Pro is the best with graphics. Their text to speech, oh my god, that is lovely. That effect they have where you can chop up the music and then use that effect and it blends it all together to play smooth like one track. DaVinci, you have a lot of catching up to do, but as I said earlier, Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, Premiere Pro, it's all up to you. I really don't appreciate the fact that people online try to dictate what it is that we as creators who are looking and watching them use. It's like the iPhone community. If you don't use an iPhone, you're not accepted. If you don't use Sony or Canon, you're not accepted. And if you don't use a MacBook, you're not accepted. I use Windows because it's what I can afford. I have a 2019 Acer i7 with 32 gigabytes of RAM, GTX 1060, and an Intel i7 8th Gen. That's what I can afford currently. So I really don't appreciate how these creators come across online, trying to dictate what it is we use, how we use things. It's okay to make recommendations, but don't try to poison your community into sticking to one object. Allow us to explore. Try other objects and tell us how they work, but don't say, oh, you have to do this or you have to switch to this in order to be like me. No, and even though they don't say it directly, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they say that directly. That's the way they put it. That's the way they make it seem. If you're not using DaVinci Resolve, then you're not making good videos and you're not going to fit into the creative community. And that should not be the message they're putting out there. It's okay to use Final Cut. It's okay to use Filmora. It's okay to use Adobe Premiere Pro. It's okay to use Windows Movie Maker. It's okay to use CapCut. It's what you have, how you can wield your tools, and how it fits your workflow and budget. So at the end of the day, I have nothing against anyone using DaVinci, Final Cut, Premiere Pro. It's all up to you and how it fits your workflow. For me, Premiere Pro is perfect for my workflow, and I can work around the issues. I'm a modern day man. I solve problems. I don't highlight them and rant about them. I solve them. And I think we should all do the same, but competition is good though. I like the fact that DaVinci is stepping up their game to give Premiere Pro a run for their money. So that makes it better for us, the consumer. The product will improve, making us better. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video and got some value from what I had to share about why I won't be switching from Premiere Pro. And if you decide to switch to DaVinci, I'll leave a link in the description to DaVinci. They have a free version if you want to try it out. Also the studio version, $295. I'll also leave a link to Adobe Premiere Pro in my description if you want to try out Adobe Premiere Pro as well. And Chevaughn Beckford, if you want to purchase lots to make your videos look like mine, you can try checking out the gamut link in my description. I'm an affiliate. You purchasing a lot from them will be of no extra cost to you. I just get a percentage of whatever purchase you make from their website. I use their conversion lots and their creative lots to make my videos like this. So anyways, if you guys like this video and found it useful, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. And if you want to see more videos like these, please stick around and leave your thoughts in the comments. Will you be switching to DaVinci? Have you switched to DaVinci? Or will you be staying with Premiere Pro? Will you be staying with Final Cut? Will you be switching to Final Cut? Leave your thoughts in the comments and tell me why you like your video editing platform. Chevaughn Beckford, signing out.